Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. This is your Major League Baseball show for Friday, the 18th of September, 2020. And I'm going to say this. I am your host, Stephen Brault. He is the co-host today, Jason Radowitz. Really, I'm not Stephen Brault, but I am very upset at Stephen Brault. Tell me this, Jason. Yesterday, I'm sitting here, I'm watching the game. Like, you know what? Got a good one out there for the boys. I'm going to fade Stephen Brault here. He's going to pitch 3, maybe 4 innings. He gives up a run, get after the bullpen, but that's as good as it gets. Stephen Brault, full, complete game, 2 hits, 1 earned run, and I'm left here having a bad week after an amazing run. I need to snap back at the table. We'll have some fun. Again, the real people on the show, I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We are the Major League Baseball show. We're going to get after it. Football Friday? Yes, it is. But there's a lot at stake today in Major League Baseball. Jason, look, I'm beside myself. I'm already messing up the openings here behind the scenes. I don't know if we're going live or not going live. Stephen Brault's got me completely out of whack here, buddy.
Yeah, let the chat just clown us for saying how Stephen Brault was only going to go 3 innings, get out of the game. Pirates, let it get out of the way. It's Friday. Let's just get it out of the way. Stephen Brault somehow, some way, just clowned everyone from the show to the chat to bettors. I think you said there was like 80-90% on the other side. So just get that out of the way. A little wild. I also had the Twins last night or during the day. They couldn't hit Reynaldo Lopez. So there were some crazy outcomes yesterday. Whatever, we move on. We're going to today's games, and those Yankees looking really good.
No, absolutely. And look, the great part about the show, we come on here, Jason and I, each and every day. Like, you can't hide. When you have good streaks, you love to have fun with them. When you have some streaks where maybe some things don't go your way, you own up to them. You live up to it. You cap new games. You trust your numbers, and you move on. That's where you guys like us after the chat box, showing up each and every day. 2 minutes into the show, 70 people already in here. 14 thumbs up right off the bat. We see you. Stacy, Steven, Jonathan, Gabriel, Chief, Shaheem, Jonathan, Steve S., hello. Welcome into the chat box. A huge card today, but I hate to see it sometimes, Jason. We get a couple double headers in here, throws me off because there's some pitchers and some batters I really would have liked to faded and taken today in those double headers. But hey, we'll be able to circle back around. But a full card on a Friday, 30 to 35 minutes, give that to us. We will give you the world in Major League Baseball. And how about this, Jason? From yesterday till today, we were stunting out here. 67,800 people that have subscribed to sportsbookreview.com right here on the YouTube channel today. 68,000 big things happening here at sportsbookreview.com. You see it down low. If you miss anything, if you want to subscribe, check out everything that's going on in Major League Baseball with the channels right there, SBRpicks.com/MLB. Alex Coulter, Donnie, you called that Texas game under. I did? Well, hey, at least that makes me feel a lot better because the only thing I'm feeling right now is the sting of the Pittsburgh Pirates and their super dominant pitching staff. Let's get into today here. We're going to go 957, 958. Back at it. How about the White Sox, Jason, in the playoffs? Are they going to have a hangover? I don't think so because obviously they didn't clinch the division. They just clinched their way into the playoffs. Today, Stever is going to be on the mound versus Maley. 68%, almost 7 out of every 10 tickets here. Coming in on Cincinnati, opens up at -107. Now sits at -116s across the board. Now, here's the issue I have with this. Originally looking at it, I said, you know what? Maybe thinking of a team total with the Chicago White Sox. But having said getting into the playoffs, does that mean maybe 3 or 4 guys in your everyday lineup say, hey, guys, you earned it. You're in the playoffs. Take a breather today. We'll get back at it the next day because Maley does have some decent statistics lining up against right-handed batters. Do I want to trust Maley in this spot? Probably not, but I think that line is low for a reason coming off of a clinch. If I'm looking at the game overall, leaning towards the Chicago White Sox, if they have a full-go lineup of their over and also the over for the game at over 9. That's the way I'm looking here. What are your thoughts on this game, Jason, between the White Sox and the Reds?
Yeah, so originally it was supposed to be T.J. Antone. It looks like he might just be in relief instead in this game. So Tyler Maley gets the start here against Jonathan Stever of the White Sox. Of course, he had his one start of his career. 3.2 innings pitched, allowed 1 run, turned some heads, looked pretty good in that start. But again, there's not too much data on Stever right now. But in a pick'em game, this is a White Sox team that has 30-plus wins on the season. They've been really good throughout the entire season. And if you get them at a pick'em, why not take the White Sox in this spot?
No, that's what I'm looking for. I just want to see, because the great part about it is we have the ability a couple hours before the game to view what the lineup looks like. If it's full go, You're going to get swings in a good hitting ballpark. And yes, maybe the pressure is even off them. Whew, we finally made the playoffs. We got through a tough series with the Minnesota Twins. Now we'll take on the Reds. Let's just swing some bats freely. I do think it's a decent play for the plus money. And also, I still think the game's going to go over. How about your Mets last night? And I watched the same old story. Phillies get a lead. Phillies can't hold a lead. You need a good start out of Aaron Nola. Out of nowhere, he gives up 5 earned runs. And the Phillies, just the faucet shuts off. When they're done scoring around the 5th inning, they ain't scoring 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So if I am a Major League Baseball manager or an advanced scout in baseball, I say, you know what? Here's how we're going to beat the Phillies. We're not even going to start a starter. We're going to go right to our bullpen, mix and match 9 different pitchers. The Phillies might not get a hit for the rest of the season if that's the case. Taking a look at the game today between Atlanta and the New York Mets, 2 lefties on the mound. Max Fried going to come back after a back injury on the IL. I believe he hasn't started in about 2 weeks at this point here. So we'll be back. Matt's the lefty on the mound for the New York Mets. 9 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on Atlanta. Opens up at minus 152. Now we're seeing some 160s at some outlets, certain outlets. 8.5s across the board. And the thing that sticks out at me is sometimes you look at these lines are always there for a reason. The Mets team total is only 3.5. The Braves team total is 4.5. You figure even though the Braves haven't really hit left-handers all that well this year, you might get some success tonight versus Steven Matz and maybe the bullpen of the Mets. But when I look at the Mets and see at 3.5, yes, I know Fried is a really good pitcher, but the Mets do have a pretty good lineup 1 through 9. And if you can outlast, like if he's coming off an IL, he's probably not going, Jason, 7, 8 innings in this game. You're probably looking at maybe an 80-pitch cap, if even that. So that'll get him through 5 innings. And if you don't touch him up for 2 runs, which you're not, 2 runs through 5 innings, that's a quality start right there. You only need 2 more runs after that. I lean towards the Mets team total in this one, even though they do stack lefties and Fried is a good pitcher. I just look at that math and say, hey, they weren't supposed to really hit Aaron Nola yesterday, and they still got 5 off him,
Yeah. Max Fried coming off his injury, same with Matz, hasn't pitched in quite some time as well. So now we have 2 lefties going in this game. Should be a fun one. Of course, the Braves definitely have the edge in this one. Max Fried, when he's pitching for the Braves, they are now 8-1 on the season with him starting on the mound. Fried is 6-0 in 9 games, the 1.98 ERA, 2.52 FIP. So, yeah, Fried definitely has the advantage here over Matz, like the public, was showing, but they're 9 out of 10 tickets going to the Braves. Steven Matz, he actually struggled versus lefties this season. With a 400 average, but there was minimal, amount of lefties that faced him. Righty's still at 289, and or 286, and also allowed 9 home runs in 24 innings pitched. Did Matt? So Matt didn't look good. Obviously, lost the starting role. In the middle of the season, now getting it back because the Mets are kind of depleted in that area. But the Braves definitely have the edge here at minus 167. Definitely would agree with that.
Yeah, we'll see if those Atlanta bats wake up as well because they struggled in a hitting environment down in Baltimore. And now we're starting to see that cooler air shifting in a couple places where we were feasting, Jason, in 85 degrees, 90 degrees. Now you're seeing 60s and not the wind blowing out, the wind coming in a different couple of places today that we'll go over in just a little bit. But let's keep on moving down the list. A big card to get to today, 961, 962. The Cleveland Bats came alive last night, hitting their team total. Now going up against Michael Fulmer, you figure they would be able to do as well as they did yesterday or against anybody because Fulmer's numbers aren't really that good. A lot of switch hitters in the lineup for Cleveland. 8 out of every 10 tickets here coming in, showing at SBRodds.com. Opened up at minus 185. And how about this? Plesac's been good this year. People trust him. He's now over $2, 220s, 230s even at some of the New Jersey outlets. The line opened up total-wise, Jason, at 9. Now dips in at 8.5. As I take a look at this game, the only way I could go, it's one of those where sometimes I don't want to outsmart myself and it might be a little bit juicy. If we're looking at Plesac straight up versus Fulmer, and that Detroit lineup isn't that good, you figure the first 5 run line would be to your advantage, even a full game run line going against Fulmer itself, because it has that same feel like if he pitches well like Steven Brault, you say, you know what? It's just the way it is. I didn't take it money line, so I'm not going to drink, 2 minus 215s, but it will be a little bit less. Cleveland or nobody from this game. I have a slight lean towards the under just because I think Plesac can dominate that Detroit lineup, but I do think that Cleveland will be able to scratch out some runs, win the first 5s, and maybe pull down a run line full game as well. What are you thinking about here in this game?
Yeah, so the only way I'm going to go with this is the Indians' first 5, minus 0.5. Minus 137 is the juice. A little bit high, but still under minus 150, so no biggie. Obviously, we're looking at how the money line continues to rise for Plesac and the Indians. I think they started really at around minus 180 that I saw last night. Now they're at minus 220. So obviously everyone's on the Indians, and for good reason. Michael Fulmer, he's now continues to just get beat up every game. High Sierra, low grounders, also low amount of swinging strikes. So that means balls will be in play. Can they score enough runs for Plesac? Yeah, I would think so. Plesac right now, has a 2.2 ERA, 3.81 FIP. Obviously didn't have his best start in his last start, but this is the guy with a 3.12 ERA on the road in 26 innings pitched, a 195 batting average on the season. The Twins obviously hit him hard last time, but I don't think that the Tigers have that kind of offense that the Twins have, especially with some injuries, to like, for example, Jacoby Jones, who was one of the hotter bats in that lineup earlier in the season. So, yeah, I don't see too much from the Tigers offense in this game. I think Plesac has a really good matchup here. I think the Indians can score a couple runs against Fulmer, who has been really bad. 378 OBA with righties hitting 500, lefties hitting 278. Now let's not forget though, the top of the lineup we have a lot of switch hitters that are going to be hitting from the left side, not the right side. So Fulmer does struggle more against the right side than the left side, but at the end of the day, he has now allowed 8 runs versus the Indians in 5.2 innings pitched this season in 2 starts. So the Indians have already hit him in 2 starts this season. So I wouldn't be too worried. I think they get their job done. Look at like Franmil Reyes, for example. Guy can have so much power from the right side. Can absolutely smoke Fulmer in this one. And those guys, like Ramirez and Lindor can also do damage, even from the left side against Fulmer and work walks or whatever they need to do. So for me, Indians first 5 at minus 0.5, minus 137 is my official play in this game.
I can't disagree with it there. And as Mike Singletary, the old 49ers head coach, said, we want winners. We actually said I want winners, but we want winners on this show over here. Thank you guys for checking into the chat box. 185 people now currently watching out here. And we're going to continue to get it on because we talk about some of these instances where the cooler weather prevails. Up in Boston, 60 degrees, the wind blowing in. But you got 2 pitchers that should be susceptible in this game. Yesterday, a little lunchtime fun I had to put out there with a tweet. Said, you know what? I think I'm feeling that Boston team total over 4, which actually 4.5 paid a little bit for it at William Hill. Still covered anyway. They have a decent look here at home going up against Montgomery, the lefty, and also Martin Perez, the lefty for Boston. And now you're seeing that Yankees lineup get healthy, the one that we saw to open baseball season in 2020. They are raking, and Jason has been riding them, and rightfully so. Like when you have a lineup 1 through 9, specifically when they're playing in smaller ballparks like they will be today again, you're 1 inning away from having 5 home runs in 1 inning like the Yankees did last night. They can really tattoo it, so you're never out of the game. But we take a look at this one, minus 170 for Montgomery, the lefty. He's now up above 200 at a lot of outlets, 10.5s across the board. And yes, I saw somebody in the chat box saying, Yankees, 6.5. If you take a look at 5 dimes right now, it is 6.5 plus 100. Yeah. But wait till you guys, there's a lot of states out there that haven't turned on yet the sports betting. Jason and I are in New Jersey. We can usually when we see the 6.5 plus 100, that means we can go out and get an honest 5.5 somewhere at some different outlets. The best part about SBR and what we've been doing for the past, 20 years here, living off that offshore market and still doing extremely well. Wait till we have the offshore market and all 50 states turned on the gambling. This station is going to skyrocket. We're going to be here to lead you in Major League Baseball. But looking at this game overall, there's only one way I can lean. That's over 10.5. I know the wind is blowing in at Fenway. I know it's 60 degrees, but damn it, Jason, look at these 2 lineups out here.
Yeah. Like you guys said, the over 6.5 on the team total, just a little high for my liking. Even though the Yankees have destroyed, and I still think they'll destroy, I still think they'll score 7, 8, 9, 10 runs in this game. It's just not something I'm going to be taking in this one, but I still want to ride the Yankees. So instead, we're going to go with the Yankees at minus 0.5 in the first 5 innings at minus 134. Now, let's talk about Jordan Montgomery first off. Montgomery, 2-2, 4.76 ERA, 4.03 FIP. Hasn't been terrible this season. Had a really great start versus the Orioles in his last start. Looked really comfortable. Got the job done. Has solid strikeout numbers. He's been good. And at the end of the day, he's faced the Red Sox twice already this season. Allowed just 2 runs to Boston in 9.1 innings pitched in those 2 starts. He's got his low walks, solid swinging strikes, limits to hard contact. He's a lot better pitcher than his 4.76 ERA really shows. And he's already faced the Red Sox twice and looked good against them in both outings. Well, then you have Martin Perez on the other hand for the Red Sox. He's now allowed 3 or more runs in 5 of 10 starts. So in 50% of his games, he's allowed at least 3 runs or more. He's allowed 5 or more runs in, I think, 3 of those games as well. So Perez has his moments where he gets absolutely smoked. The Yankees scored 3 runs in 3 innings pitched versus Perez earlier this season. And if you look at Perez's home numbers, a 5.48 ERA at home with an 0-3 record in 4 starts at home as well for Perez. I think the Yankees continue on with their hitting, definitely give enough runs in the first 5 innings for Montgomery to beat up Perez here. So I like the Yankees here in the first 5 on the run line at minus 0.5, minus 134. Again, another kind of a little bit higher on the juice when we're looking at these first 5s, but still under minus 150, so there's still plenty of room and value there.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Yanks, even though the wind is blowing in, it's cooler. 4+ home runs for the Yankees. It just seems like the norm once they get their big boys back in the lineup, which they do have now. So we'll keep an eye on that game. 7:35 start in Baltimore, Tampa Bay, and the Orioles. Glasnow versus Cobb. About a 50-50 ticket split here, but you're getting a high number. Glasnow's been a really good pitcher this season. Minus 194 he opens up at. 200 at some outlets, specifically in New Jersey. Over-under that opens up at 9 now dips to 8.5. And usually you'd say, hey, man, Camden Yards, where can I sign up? That Orioles offense. I'm actually leaning, Jason, to the under. I agree with that under 9 movement back down to 8.5 in this game. And the reason being is it's very hard to trust the bats of Tampa Bay as is. Even if they're going up against like tomato can pitchers, they're going to be able to stack left-handed batters going up against Alex Cobb. But the one problem that we always see with Tampa Bay, it's not that they can't get their team totals, but it's the way they get to them, because the K percentage on the team, if we take a look at an anticipated lineup tonight from their 9 batters, there's only one batter, Jason, that strikes out less than 16% of the time versus right-handed pitchers. Take a look at the first 4 guys in the lineup that you would lean on. Sasugo strikes out 23% of the time against right-handed pitchers. Lau, 26%. Willie Adames is in your 3-hole. So you figure you have guys on base. He strikes out 40% of the time versus right-handed batters. And, oh, yeah, Nate Lau right behind him. Brendan Lowe, Nate Lau. It's such an interesting team with these pronunciations. 30% he strikes out against right-handed batters. So you go through this lineup, and it's like the one thing that we always get so frustrated with. Second and thirds, 1 out. First and thirds, 1 out. Just put the ball in play. Let's get a run. They end up striking out and having bad awareness at the plate. This is one of those spots here. I'm going to lean on the under 9 if you can get it with some juice out there, Jason. What are you looking for today between Tampa Bay and Baltimore here?
Yeah, Glasnow, really high strikeout numbers, 14.18 per 9 innings, 3.69 walks per 9 innings, 4.47 ERA, 3.53 FIP. So he's been a lot better than I think his stats really show. When you're going up against Alex Cobb, this is a guy, like you said, obviously the Rays strike out a ton, but Cobb doesn't really get those strikeouts either at 6.64 per 9 innings. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see which way, this game goes. Does Cobb get more strikeouts, or do the Rays hit Cobb, who doesn't get many strikeouts? So we'll see what happens in this game. At the end of the day, Cobb has a 5.03 ERA, a 5.44 FIP. I think the Rays have a big advantage here in this game. So if I were to look at this game, I think on the road, Rays minus 1.5 with Glasnow on the mound has to be the play for me.
Hey, no getting around it. It's funny. Somebody in the says drinking game. Every time Jason says, yeah, usually that means that Jason's being nice and is going to counter his point, but not say, well, I disagree with you completely now. So that's the great part about the show. Like, your co-host and your host and what's going back and forth. Yeah. That's a really good pickup out there in the chat box, but we are nice people over here. We try to keep it tame and civil unless it comes down to the final 3 games of the season, which is going to happen, Jason. Me and you're going to do a baseball show like September 29th, and the Mets and the Phillies are going to be tied for the last spot as the wild card, and we'll really get popping and go down here. Let's keep going, and there's a reason. When you see 7s at Wrigley Field, what does that mean? Cooler temperatures and the wind blowing dead in from center field, which it is tonight. Rich Hill, the crafty old lefty on the mound versus Kyle Hendricks. This line opened up at 130, actually dropping down in a favor of the Minnesota Twins. So you got 120s, 122s, 125s across the board. And again, 7s. When I see that number, I usually say, you know what? Let's just go 3-3, and we're going to have at least a push in this game if we get the extra innings. That's out. We've seen it the past couple times at Wrigley. Even with scoring 3 runs in the first inning, these low numbers aren't hitting. So I'm going to lean on the under in this game if under. Now, I'm not taking it. I'm just going to lean on that. And I do have a slight lean towards the Minnesota Twins in this game. I think they might be able to get some runs across the board. Close game. Give me the dog in this one, but not any real senses where I'm saying, you know what? It's going to be my play of the day. What are you thinking about here?
Yeah, I think the Twins definitely have some value. And I said, yeah, and I agree with you. So just pointing that out. But at the end of the day, yeah, the Twins have some value there, plus 115. I think where the Cubs really kind of struggle against lefties. And Hill's just, like you said, that crafty guy. His walks are getting kind of high, though. Needs to get his walks a little bit lower. But, again, 3.81 ERA, 4.51 FIP. Not the best FIP, but this is a Cubs team that has struggled versus lefties on the season. And Hendricks does have a low walk rate, low hard contact rate, but he's also allowed just 4 runs in his last 21.2 innings pitched. I think that kind of number goes right back in regression mode here. Righties are still hitting 304 on the season against Hendricks, and I don't really see Hendricks getting another solid start under his belt against the Twins offense that didn't really do too much on their offense in their last game. So I like the Twins here. I think there's value there at plus 115 for sure.
Yep, we're going to keep going here. We'll swing back on some of these doubleheaders in a bit, but let's finish up some of these full game cards. 967, 968, Kansas City and Milwaukee. That is Duffy and Hauser. And how about this? Hauser opens up at a 140, now sits at 155s, even some 160s. And New Jersey outlets, Jason, even showed some 180s out here in this game. Opened up as a total of 9, now sinks back to 8.5 in this game. The one time I do like to take the Milwaukee Brewers, and it's hard because you look at the lineup and they don't produce a lot, but if you're going to take them, it's going to be versus a lefty, and maybe it's Danny Duffy, who had an odd, I'm going to start in this game. I crashed my car. I got my thumbs up looking for a, pick me up on the side of the highway. I'm suspended. I'm taking a flight into town. Now I'm going back out of town. Just some odd circumstances here. I lean towards Milwaukee, but I'm not going to pay a 160 or 155 price on that, but I do look towards slightly that Milwaukee team total because, again, they do have some success going against lefties here and just some odd circumstances around what the heck's going on with Danny Duffy. What are your thoughts here in this game?
Yeah, I think over is the play in this game for sure. You look at Duffy and Duffy, like you said, high Sierra, low ground ball rate. Brewers hit lefties well this season, of course, and that's why it plays really well to the Brewers over on their team total. Duffy's been inconsistent all season long. High strikeouts, also high walks, high home run rate, but a low batting average of balls in play. But look at Hauser's game log. It's really pretty ugly. Hauser gets a lot of grounders, limits hard contact, but he's really struggled as of late. He's now allowed 3+ runs in 7 straight starts. Much better matchup here against the Royals, who haven't really been great offensively. But, again, Duffy and Hauser both have had some really bad starts as of late. The Brewers have a great matchup, and I think even the Royals have a solid matchup as well. Of course, when we've taken the Royals on this in this show, they haven't really helped us out a little bit. But over 9 seems like a great play. If you got 4-4, definitely getting a push. Maybe get 2 more runs there. I like the over 9 in this game. It's not an official play, but I'm talking myself into it as I talk.
Hey, look, the more you talk it out, put those feelings wide open, you can get talked into plays, and more plays are more fun and more money, Jason, in your bank account. Don't worry about the losing. Only concentrate on the winning when you put more action out there. 969, 970. Here's our annual, play of the days that we like to look at. Arizona's out here with Gallen on the mound, and Houston is up. So Houston maxes out at 2 runs in every game. So maybe if you don't get a huge action output from Arizona, we're looking at an under. I see the opening line at 8, some 7.5s out here. So I'll lean on the 8 in this one. Favored for Zach Greinke, -160s, -165s. But yesterday I pleaded with the Houston ownership saying, look, these guys can't hit. Open the roof. So what did they do yesterday? They keep it closed. What's the final score? Like every final score with Houston, 2-1. So today, I'm looking again, 85 degrees in Houston. There's no fans complaining like, oh, it's so hot in here. I need the air conditioning on. Let them play in 85 degrees. Try to heat their bats up, but it looks like they'll probably close it again. You know what? I'm going to sit right on that 8 and laugh at another 2-1 game here, Jason. What are you thinking?
It's interesting because both of these starters have really struggled as of late. So I love your look, but the reality is these pitchers haven't looked good. Gallen definitely regressing now. He's allowed 11 earned runs in his last 10 innings pitched. Again, starting to regress. The Astros bats, they've regressed all season, of course. They don't have the trash cans to help them out in the season. But Greinke also, he's limiting walks well, but he's been hit hard. 12 runs, his last 17 innings pitched, 21 hits. Still 18 strikeouts and 2 walks, 3 home runs. We're playing it in Houston. I get it. The roof, closed or open, whatever the case might be. But both these pitchers, they start off the season very well. Now they're really struggling. Can either of these offenses do anything against one of these pitchers? I would think that one team can, the other team won't. Can this game go over 7.5? Sure, it can. Can it not? Yeah, of course. Both these pitchers are just really good. both of these offenses are just not really good. But lately, the pitchers haven't pitched well. If you look down their game log, starting to regress. So we'll see what happens. I think there's other games on this slate that are kind of easier to read than this one. I think it'll be a fun game. Hopefully, it's a good pitching matchup for your sake. That would be fun for all baseball fans that are watching for a pitching matchup like that. But the reality is, there's so much that can happen in this game.
Yeah, I need to fly down. Maybe we need a good, march in the streets of Houston, OTR, open the roof, and then we can get some runs at it. Because us total backers really get upset when we see roofs that are closed, Jason, that should be open. They need to open that roof. Again, let's see a 2-1 game. I want you guys to tweet me tonight or whatever happens. If we're sitting here in the 7th inning and it's like 1-1, we're going to be like, man, you know what? Open the roof down in Houston. 971, 972. Colorado, some good weather out here in Colorado, Jason, and certainly that total reflects it. We got 13s on the board here. Not open at every outlet yet because we finally, right before the show came on, they did put out the tweet there that the starting pitcher is going to be Alex Wood, the lefty for the Dodgers, and obviously Castellini has always been the starter for the Colorado Rockies. Pitcher that did decent in his last outing, but has struggled overall for the season. And again, pitching in that thin air, of course, heavy favorite here for the Los Angeles Dodgers, -192. I'm going to see right here, since we are live, let's see if we have any totals coming out here just yet for the Dodgers game. And let me see. Actually, it looks like we might have them out here. Let's get an official one. Nope, not yet. Still over 13, -185 in this. So it'll be out probably hopefully in the next hour or two. But I got to tell you, I think Jason's probably on the same wavelength as me. If you get an A lineup today out of the Dodgers and you can get it maybe 6 with some juice, because they're going to hang that 6.5 out there, no doubt about it, on 5 dimes. But some other athletes maybe get the 6. There's no reason to believe that Dodgers lineup just doesn't do damage. We're not talking about rainy, 68 degrees and the wind blowing in. You're going to get mid-80s out there, Colorado. You're going to get team launch angle in its finest against a guy that gives up fly balls. I like the Dodgers team total over, even though I don't even know what it's at, Jason.
Yeah, I'm going to hope that that's 6. If it's 6.5, I can't take it. If the 6 is like -145, you can forget it too. But the reality is Ryan Castellani on the mound for the Rockies. Doesn't even matter who's pitching for the Dodgers, even if it's Alex Wood. Now he just got the call. Before it was supposed to be Mitchell White. Now he's not getting the start as Alex Wood. Doesn't even matter. Castellani, listen to this: a high walk rate, low strikeout rate, low ground ball rate, high hard contact rate, and an FIP of 7.19 at Coors Field. So just forget about it. The Dodgers should absolutely destroy this lineup. They're starting to get healthy now. Justin Turner back in the lineup. Things are starting to kind of move forward. For the Dodgers and the Yankees, both powerhouse offenses that are really going to be really, stroking the ball these next couple of weeks before the postseason. So if the Dodgers are at 6, highly recommended it. 6.5, won't touch it, but I still like it. So if you want to take a flyer on it, go for it. I definitely like the Dodgers here all around, -1.5. This is a great play too. Don't really know too much about Alex Wood. I know we had 1 game started this season, 0-1 in 6 games. High strikeouts, high walks, ERA 4.32, FIP is 5, BABIP 318. Ground balls are okay for Alex Wood usually, but we haven't really seen him pitch much this game. And potentially Mitchell White will probably piggyback or probably pitch a little bit in this game as well later on. I don't know for sure. I'm just assuming due to White having the start before Wood got announced. So with White, I'll talk about him for a second. This is the guy that allowed no runs in his debut against Texas on 8/28. Allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, struck out 1 in 1 inning. That was his only time in the majors. So we don't know what to expect out of him, but I think I prefer White and Wood over Castellani all day, every day. So you want to take that -1.5 for the Dodgers. That's also fine with me.
They should hit. I mean, that's just the bottom line of this game. When you watch some of the younger pitchers also, Jason, around Major League Baseball, you can see like this deceptive stuff. Some of these flamethrowers are coming up, these first-round picks, these second-round picks throwing 98, 99, might take a little bit of adjustments. If you ever watch Castellini pitch, he doesn't hide much, and he's not a power pitcher at all. They should be able to hit tonight. And having said that, we don't want to put the kiss of death, but we do like those bats from the Dodgers here. Here's one I have circled. Here's one that's going to be in about 5 minutes when we go over best bets and bankers for the day. I'm going to end the week with a bang here. Now, we're going to take a look at the Angels, which, to me, Jason, one of the more enigmatic offenses. All that talent in the lineup that's supposed to show up sometimes doesn't put it all together. But if they don't put it together tonight with the pitching matchups that they're going up against, and the meaning, like, I'm seeing a guy named Herget. I don't know if he's French where it's Hergé, but that tells you how low the Texas team is going just to try to finish out the season, because he's going to be the opener and Wes Benjamin, the lefty, is going to be right behind it. The only problem I see in this lineup, which has been the problem the entire year, a first-round draft pick named Joe Adell is going to be in this game, and versus lefties on the season, he has struck out 50% of his at-bats. That means he gets up to the plate, takes 3 swings, and goes to sit back down on the bench like, what did I do wrong right here? As long as we can keep Joe Adell out of situations with anybody on base, buddy, swing for the heels all you want. I hope they can pinch hit from late, because the rest of this team should be able to hit these 2 tomato cans. Team total, which is 4.5 minus 135 at William Hill. It's 5s for the rest of the universe, I like to say, at minus 105. There's no reason to believe that they can hit. Also, Jaime Barria on the other side. You should be able to hit him too with Texas, stacking left-handed bats over here. That total should go over 9. I agree with it going from 9 to 9.5, but I like the Angels in this game. The Angels should be able to hit tonight, Jason. What are you thinking here?
Well, after listening to what you just said, I think everyone should go out there and take a home run prop on Joe Adell. I think we should all just take a home run prop on Joe Adell. But no, I completely agree with you here. The Angels, minus 175, definitely a great play there. Against the Rangers. I think the Angels have the offense to go up against Herget or whatever, however you say his name. 15 games.
I like Hergé. I mean, I think Hergé has panache, so I'm going with that. Go ahead.
If he wants to let up some runs, then we'll call him Herget. If he pitches well, we'll call him Hergé. Whatever the case might be. But I like the Angels here for 100%. Jaime Barria has actually looked pretty good this season. 3.38 ERA, 3.95 FIP. So. Back the Angels, back Joe Adell to hit a homer, and then tweet at us later that you hit the prop bet, because Joe Adell might actually have 2 home runs in this game.
No, you're right, and I would love it. I'm an old man. That is a 9:00 start. So when Joe Adell homers, we're probably looking at after 11. I'm going to make sure I have my notifications on for this game. So if anybody sees, forget it. If Joe Adell gets a base hit tonight, barrage me tonight, because, I'm going to be on that Angels over. I would love to see him get a base hit, but I also think it will be funny as well. But if he takes the 0 for 4 and the Angels still cover, that's like a winning weekend. That's like a trifecta for me. So we'll see what happens there. 977, 978 San Francisco and Oakland. Webb and Bassett on the mound. Total opens up at 8.5. Still staying at 8.5 across the board. Oakland, obviously, these 2 teams aren't traveling far. They're just going to go across the bay. San Francisco at home, cashed in again with a team total with them yesterday. The lineup doesn't look strong, but the numbers tell you a completely different story. But now you're going to Oakland, so they don't have that same eye set that they have at Oracle Park out there in San Francisco. But Webb should be able to get hit. Bassett's not a great pitcher. I'm looking at 8.5 here. You have that same weather you always have in Oakland, 65, 66, 67 degrees, wind blowing out the dead center, 7 to 8 miles an hour. I lean on the over in this game of 8.5. I like the bats for San Francisco, even though I like them a lot more at home. Not a huge travel spot here. Oakland should be able to hit Webb, and vice versa. Bassett should be able to get hit by San Francisco. I lean over 8.5 in this one, Jason. What are you looking at here?
I actually like the Athletics in this game. Bassett, he does have a high Sierra, but in his last 13 innings pitched, he's allowed just 1 earned run. However, he has allowed 15 hits and 2 walks in the process. So while he's allowed 1 earned run in 13 innings pitched, he's still allowed 15 hits and 2 walks. So that's 17 base runners in 13 innings pitched, just 1 earned run. So obviously a bit of luck. But, I think we've seen this entire week that maybe we shouldn't be calling this luck anymore, with like Dylan Cease, for example, and Jordan Lyles, for example, and Stephen Brault, for example. It's no longer luck. It's literally just how they are pitching. So Bassett, a 1.14 ERA at home in 4 games played. No homers allowed at home either. Webb, he's allowed 10 earned runs in his last 14.1 innings pitched, 6 walks, 14 strikeouts, won't go deep, 5 innings pitched at most for Webb. I like the Athletics here, minus 0.5 in the first 5 innings at minus 105. If the Dodgers aren't a play, I think I'm going to go over to this game at minus 1.5 in the first 5 for the Athletics. Yep. I hate taking West Coast games because, look, we're on the East Coast, and I need to write my articles for tomorrow. Yeah. I need to prepare for tomorrow. I need my sleep. So I hate picking these games, but I really think there is an edge here for Bassett and the Athletics against the Giants. This is an Athletics team that is a playoff team, and the Giants are, could potentially a playoff team, but the Athletics are definitely a playoff team. And I like Bassett at home, so if the Dodgers is 6.5 and the juice is too high, I'll probably end up going with Athletics here for my other pick. I like all these picks. I just don't like the volume So therefore, I gotta put it down.
I mean, you're the same way as me, and the same way of every gambler. Even like it is a late night game and you have the articles to write. It's not so much that it's late and I can't concentrate when I have action on the line. And we do a lot of shows that are live on the air. Like I did an NFL show at 4:00 yesterday on Sportsbook Review. We do the show obviously at 1:30. When there's games on, it's so hard. And you catch me and Jason, going like this to look between the monitors or off to my left with my phone trying to set some things. But the show must go on, as they say. But it's a lot easier when you have action where you're not on the air. You're like, you know what? I have work to do right now. Second and third, let me put it down. Then they don't score, Jason. Then you're really frustrated, and it's a whole big thing. But then again, that's what gambling is. Last game of the night we'll go over before we do a real quick skip over of these doubleheaders, 979, 980. Paddock and Kikuchi on the mound. Now, it does say, keep in mind again, Seattle Mariners as a home team, the fires, the air quality up in the Northwest, they have been shifting these games down, which is why I love the Giants, because, again, the Giants were the road team but got the full 9 at-bats against the Mariners. You're going to get the same thing here. San Diego is at home, but the away team. So no matter what happens as a heavy favorite, they're going to get a full 9 at-bats. But most people will look at Kikuchi and say, boy, he's going to get smoked. What a bad pitcher. Remember him the last couple of years? What if I told you he's right on the toes with his analytics with Chris Paddock in this game? He's got a 5.35 ERA, so immediately like, oh, look, they are going to smash this guy with 9 at-bats. Look at the FIP, Jason, 2.68. Look at the xFIP, 3.29. This kid's been pitching amazing, and Paddock is right there with him, 3.57. And also, he has a little higher FIP, but his xFIP is very good. 2 real low xFIP pitchers. I'm actually leaning on the under in this game, so I'll go under 8.5 because you're looking at that 5 ERA going, woo, that Padres lineup's going to roll tonight. Not so fast, as Lee Corso says.
Yeah, I like it. Kikuchi has a high Sierra. He's lefties are hitting now 289 against Kikuchi, but the reality is that FIP is 2.69. He's allowed just 0.50 home runs per 9 innings, so that's basically 1 home run per 18 innings. That's really good. Also has high strikeout numbers, low walks. Same with Paddock, high strikeout numbers and low walks. My only thing is that these teams, let's say Paddock only goes 5 innings or something, and Kikuchi only goes 5 innings. I think both these offenses can definitely get to the bullpens of these teams. I think the Mariners can definitely win the first 5 innings. I think there's probably value there for the Mariners in the first 5 innings if they can get a couple of home runs. I think also, but Paddock has, he's starting to improve, I think. He's allowed 5 earned runs in his last 12.2 innings pitched. So he got a week off. I think, he got his start pushed back for 2 days. But he has still allowed 11 home runs on the season, 6 from the lefties, 5 from righties. So both sides are hitting him hard. And that scares me. So if I had to make a play on this one, it would be the Mariners at value play at plus 155. And I'd even look at over 8.5 on this one.
Yep, no, I can't disagree with you there. And also, we're taking a look at Paddock coming back, saying he struggled a little bit with an ankle injury, so they did push back his starts. We'll see if that affects him all tonight. But 2 decent pitchers on the mound. Real quickly here, we'll go over some of these doubleheader games. And, just looking at, Eric Fetty, whenever he's on the mound, I usually look as a fade. Miami's the home team. Sixto Sanchez has been great. He's almost minus 200 in that baseball game now in the first end of their doubleheader. Also, the Phillies with Eflin and Ray. You see Robbie Ray on the mound, you automatically want to fade him. But then, how devastating is that little, that pin cushion that the Phillies are right now, letting games slip away, and we'll see if it affects them today. Because if you remember the last doubleheader with Toronto in Buffalo, the Phillies should have had a sweep and came away getting devastated in that doubleheader. Yeah. So, it is what it is. Now, do you have any looks in these doubleheaders today? Outside of maybe I would look at team total with Miami, but outside of that, I really don't get down with team totals all that much in these doubleheaders, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of year is it when we have the Marlins as minus 200 favorites against the Nationals? Right?
World Series, yeah, right.
Sixto Sanchez has been really good. So maybe minus 0.5 in the first 5 for the Marlins. I'm not sure how those doubleheaders work. I don't really do my research on those lines, but if there is a first 5 line for the Marlins, definitely take minus 0.5. But I'm not sure if they even give that out in a 7-inning game. So definitely check that out before. But yeah, I think the Marlins definitely will beat the Nationals big time in that first game. When we're looking at the Phillies Blue Jays, Robbie Ray obviously got back to a better start against the Mets. And I'm hoping he has a really great start again against the Phillies, because my Mets now are just 1.5 games out of the playoffs. And who's right there? It's the Phillies that are 1.5 games ahead of the Mets. So if the Phillies can lose these 2 games and the Mets can win today, might be a little bit happy over the weekend. So I'm going to hope that the Blue Jays get the win, but my analytics say that the Phillies will win the first game. So we'll just go with that.
Yeah, look, that's where we could keep it there. The Fighting Phils, as long as they get a W today. Who knows? Look, the Phillies aren't going anywhere, but it is nice to see your team in postseason play. So you can say, hey, we made the playoffs, even though that the same thing will happen to the Phillies in the playoffs. The bullpen's not going to miraculously turn into a shutdown bullpen after being historically one of the single worst bullpens in the entire history of Major League Baseball. Best Bets and Bankers right now, over 300 people watching in the chat box. 60 thumbs up. Let's give them what they need for the weekend. It's a football Friday, but it's time to win some money in Major League Baseball. You already heard me. I want the texts. I want the tweets tonight. I want everything that comes with Joe Adell and the Los Angeles Angels. I am taking the team total over. Now, look, I got it. See, I'm a man of the people here, Jason. I got it at 4.5 minus 135. Some people can't get that. So I'm going to ride with my people out here in the chat box and say, we're getting to 6 runs. So if you can get that 5 at Light Juice, like 5 minus 105, which is actually at William Hill, go ahead and grab that. We are scoring tonight. We are all Angels tonight. Mike Trout, 3 for 4, 2 bombs. Shohei Ohtani shows up. And yes, Joe Adell solo shot somewhere around the 4th inning. And give me that as the 6th run, the Joe Adell shot. I'm going to go with my best bet and banker, LA Angels, over the team total 5 in this game. Jason, take it away, buddy.
Yeah, so we're going to go with the Indians first 5 and the minus 0.5 at minus 137. So Indians against the Tigers, Plesac versus Fulmer. We're going with the Indians after their offense went on an explosion yesterday, hoping that continues into this game against Fulmer. So again, Indians first 5, minus 0.5 at minus 137. The banker of the day will be the Yankees, minus 0.5 in the first 5 as well at minus 134. Jordan Montgomery has pitched really well versus the Red Sox previously on the season. Perez not so much versus the Yankees. Of course, the Yankees are now healthy, looking really good, and Montgomery coming off of a really solid start. I like the Yankees here at minus 0.5 in the first 5 at minus 134. Now, I got 2 other plays. I'm not sure which plays will be taking place and which won't, so definitely check me out at Jason_Radowitz on my Twitter. The Dodgers over 6 team total will be a play if the juice isn't high. However, if it's at 6.5 and there's no point of taking it, I will look at the Athletics here, minus 0.5 in the first 5 as well at minus 105 against the Giants. So that'll be another play, but I would rather the Dodgers. I do like this play a lot too. I really do. I want to take both of them. I just don't have the guts, but maybe I will later. Maybe I'll just do it. Maybe I'll just throw it out there and do both games. But for now, we got 2 games, and we'll just look at the lines for the Dodgers game and make a decision later on around like 5 o'clock Eastern time.
I think your decision has already been made, Jason. 5 Downs released a number, and it's 7.5 with juice as a team total for the Dodgers. So you're going to pay minus 115, and you need 8 runs to cash that one. That's for now. Now, most people will say, Jason, the line is there for a reason. They should be able to get 10 runs because we actually think there's a good shot they can get 10.
Actually,
when you see the 7.5, and if I take a team total over and I win 7-4, and I say I lost money, I don't know if I can live with myself on that, but that is a high team total. But that's it. It's Friday. We had another great week here on Major League Baseball shows right here on sportsbookreview.com. Jason and I will be back again on Monday at 1:30 p.m. Huge weekend on the channels. College football, soccer, NFL action, NBA action. Everything you need is right here at sportsbookreview.com. 68,000 people have already chimed in and hit the subscribe button. Turn your notification bells on. Every time we go live with the show or content, you'll get it delivered directly to your inbox. 300 people watching now. We do thank you for yet another fun week right here on the channels. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We're sportsbookreview.com. And this was your Major League Baseball show for Friday.